The Panasonic GH5 and the Sony A6500 are both approaching 10 years old now. The A6500 having come out in 2016 and the GH5 in 2017. So how do they compare today, almost a decade later, for shooting video? The GH5 and the A6500 were both the flagship sub-full frame cameras for their respective brands at the time they were released. Now, at the time of recording, the price on the used market is about the same for both cameras. Between about 450 to 550 euros depending on the condition. Probably the most obvious difference between them is the size of the sensor. The GH5 has a 20 megapixel 4/3 sensor, while the A6500 has a larger 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, which should in theory produce less noise at higher ISOs. The LCD screen on the A6500 flips up and you can change the horizontal angle, but it doesn't flip out to the side and it can't be rotated. While the GH5 has a fully articulated screen that flips out to the side and you can rotate it by 180 degrees for selfie shots. When using the cameras outdoors, I found the A6500 screen to be slightly more prone to reflections, which can make it difficult to see, especially in bright sunlight. Taking a look at the video specs, both cameras can record in 4K UHD, but the GH5 can also record in Cinema 4K and it can record 4K at up to 60 frames per second, while the A6500 tops out at 30 frames per second. Both cameras have 5-axis in-body image stabilization. The A6500 can record 4K using the Hold sensor at 24 frames per second, but there's an additional 1.25 times crop if you're recording at 30 frames per second. The GH5 can record 4K using the Hold sensor with no crop all the way up to 60 frames per second. The A6500's maximum video bitrate is 100 megabits per second, while the GH5 can record at up to 400 megabits per second. This effectively means that every frame of video on the GH5 can contain up to 4 times more information than the same frame on the A6500. The A6500 records in 8-bit 420, while the GH5 can record in 10-bit 422, allowing you much more headroom for color grading. Finally, there's no open gate recording on the A6500, while the GH5 allows you to record open gate video in 5K 4:3 aspect ratio using the Hold sensor. So, on paper at least, it seems that the GH5 is the clear winner in terms of specs. But let's take a look at some actual footage from both cameras to see how they compare in the real world. At ISO 800 first, here's some footage from the GH5 and the same scene on the A6500. Looking at the two clips side by side, there's little to choose between the two. But I think looking at the muscles on the rocks to the left, the A6500 is perhaps just very slightly sharper. Switching to a wider scene now with a view out over the ocean, still at ISO 800, here's the footage from the GH5 and here's the A6500. Looking at the footage side by side, again the level of detail appears to be about the same, but the GH5 has more contrast and there's a definite difference in the colours, with the GH5 looking more true to life and the A6500 leaning more towards green. In this scene at ISO 3200, I'd have expected the A6500 to perform better given its larger sensor, but when looking at the two clips side by side, the GH5 seems to retain a lot more detail despite having more noise. This becomes even more apparent as you zoom in. Just look at the bark on the tree at the top of the frame. On the A6500 it looks very muddy with very little texture. Both cameras have 5-axis in-body image stabilization, which moves the sensor to compensate for camera movement. Sony calls theirs steady shot, while Panasonic refers to theirs as dual IS, since the lens and body can work together to reduce shake. Here I'm using unstabilized lenses on both cameras, so they're relying entirely on the in-body stabilization. But to look at the A6500 footage, you would barely know that it had IBIS at all. The only thing I found the A6500 IBIS really useful for is for smoothing out small movements in static handheld shots or with very slow pans. It's often said that Sony has the best autofocus, and the GH5 definitely had some issues with autofocus when it was first released. But the numerous firmware updates released over the years by Panasonic have made massive improvements. In this continuous autofocus test, the GH5 locked on quicker than the Sony every single time. Both cameras offer slow motion, the Sony giving you 1080p at up to 120 frames per second, while the GH5 will allow you to go up to 180 frames per second. I found the slow motion footage on the GH5 to be much sharper and have a lot more detail with less artifacts than the Sony, despite the GH5's higher frame rate. This is even more apparent when you zoom in to 200%. The A6500 footage is just softer with more compression artifacts. And of course on the GH5 you can also shoot slow motion in 4K. You can shoot at 4K 60 and then slow it down to 40% in a 24p timeline. Rolling shutter, also known as jello effect, is minimal on the GH5. Thanks to the smaller sensor with a fast readout, even fast pans show little to no sign of skewing. It is still present, just to a much lesser degree than most other cameras. The A6500 on the other hand is pretty terrible when it comes to rolling shutter. It's already apparent even at slow panning speeds, and at faster speeds the footage becomes basically unusable. This is something Sony has seemingly had difficulty addressing, as even some of their newer cameras like the ZV-E10 exhibit the same issues. Neither of these cameras really feels dated despite their age, which is testament to how far ahead of their time they were when first released. But for shooting video today in 2026, the GH5 wins in every category. It has far better stabilization, shoots higher resolutions in higher frame rates and higher bit rates, has better slow motion, it shoots 4K 60, has minimal problems with rolling shutter, and I've barely even touched on the 5K open gate recording in this video. I do have a soft spot for Sony since the A6000 was my first mirrorless camera, and I love the compact form factor of their APS-C line. But if you're thinking of spending $500 or euros on a camera to shoot video in 2026, then there's no better choice than a used GH5. I hope you found this video useful. That's it for now, thanks for watching.